and welcome to another episode of Grit Factor. I'm Erin Jade Miller, and on today's show, we have the incredible Jade Starkey. She is an entrepreneur and founder of Cachet Creative. Jade, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Erin. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Great to have you on the show. And I think just before we chat about anything else, maybe just tell us, what is Cachet Creative?
So Cachet Creative is a events planning company. We specialize in sophisticated events, particularly weddings, but we are able to do various types of events, so corporate events, milestone birthdays and so forth, but we specialize in wedding planning and coordination.
Awesome.
We also do floral and decor styling as well.
Yes, I know your floral arrangements are amazing. And I'm really excited to just get into your story because I know a little bit about it. Yeah. And I know that you have come through so much, you've experienced a lot, and you've got a lot to share with our viewers. And so I think maybe just start at the beginning and just give us a bit about your story and where you come from. Where did it all start for you?
Okay, sure. I think from a young age, I think the entrepreneurial gift was sparked inside of me from a very, very young age. I think I was around the age of 10 or so where I started creating Barbie doll clothes for the kids that stayed in our area. And at that age already, I started coming up with processes. So I would say to them, you know, you're not able to return this after a certain amount of days.
Refund policy.
Yes, refund policy, right?
Yeah.
So from a very young age, I was able to come up with those ideas and, you know, make pocket money. And as time went on, I think I was about 17 or so, 16 or 17. This was now in my teen years, and this was when I experienced like a great loss. I've experienced grief, and that kind of altered those few years for me in a significant way. You know, I fell pregnant when I was during high school. I fell pregnant with my daughter. She was like my saving grace. Wow. So she was able to kind of save me from that grief that I've experienced. But it was very self-destructive, you know, that moment with her. Yes. And what the result is, I had to finish my schooling career through night school. Okay. And my mother was very strict at that time. So she had said to me that, you know, if you're going to night school to finish off your career, you need to make sure that you have the funds available so that you can pay for your own, you know, registrations and your books and so forth. And again, that entrepreneurial spark was then
reignited.
Yes. So I started selling phones, and I bought and sold my old textbooks.
And you were how old?
I was around 17, 18 at this time.
Okay.
So, I started selling phones, but again, I had this, idea that if I buy and sell a phone, it needs to be the complete package. So I'm not going to just buy a phone without having the box and the charger and everything. Because I knew if I had to sell it complete,
you're upselling the
a
customer.
Complete package, I would get a lot more for it. And so that's what I started doing. And I was able to pay for my registrations. I was able to pay for my books that I needed. And then after school, I went on to then go and work because I had the responsibility of having to look after my daughter. And I started off as a receptionist. Okay. So with the receptionist job, I, built myself up, and I was able to come up with ideas on how to make the customer service index at the company that I was working, how to make that grow. And I think we grew from about 30% to about 80%.
Wow.
Yeah, and then after that, I went on to my second job was as a customer service agent. Okay. And I remember the lady that was training me there, there was a few ladies that were there for about 4 years. Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, that would never be me. I would never be able to stay in the same place for the next 4 years. And so I started learning everyone's jobs, everyone in the different departments that were there, and management started to notice me. They then they put me in a second in charge position, and they started sending me for management training. And so they were getting ready to make me a manager at the company that I was working at. And I remember thinking to myself that I think it was around 2 or 3 years of being there.
Yeah.
I thought to myself that one day I am going to have my own business. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but eventually I will have my own business. And as I was, being developed to step into management, I started thinking back to when I was younger, and, we would set the tables in church. I would help with the events team, serve on the events team as well. And that was sparked, that entrepreneur was again ignited, that spark was ignited once again. And so I knew that's the business I'm going to start, and that's an events planning company. And so I never had any funds for studying, and I had to self-teach. So while I was working, I was self-teaching, and when I was ready to leave, I then left. And the first year of business was insane. Like, it was very difficult.
Wow.
But I knew I had to persevere, and I knew I needed to do this, And so I started looking up at people that inspired me, either people that I wanted to, be like one day, or even be better than one day. And I came across the company that I then went to go and work for. But leading up to that, this guy rejected me like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went the first time and he rejected me. He said no. And I remember calling him and emailing him, asking him to give me a reason as to why he said no. And then he called me in, he gave me some advice. I said, okay, that's fine. Took the advice, applied it in the business. He then had an opportunity where they were looking for a wedding planner. Okay. And I applied for the wedding planner position.
Trying to sneak in there.
I went there with all my, my documents, and I was like, this is what I did for my business, what I am willing to do for you guys. And again, they said no. So I knew they had an internship that was coming up. Okay. And when he said no to me for the job position, I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to see you with the internship.
You're not getting rid of me that easy.
Not that easy. Yeah. And so I went to the internship program, and I think they were so, they admired my perseverance that when I went, they never interviewed me. Wow. They just let me in. So I was through the door without an interview. Amazing. And then I did the internship. So the internship was a 6-month program. Within the first 2 months, they've offered me a permanent position. Wow. So, and that's again just because I was so willing to just give my best,
And I think, Jade, because if I just think of like how you just mentioned the fact that you were self-taught, you didn't have the resources, your mother didn't have the money to pay for you, you didn't have the money to pay, you were basically hustling your way through this thing, but you had the determination on the inside of you to say, I'm not going to stay in this position that I find myself in. I know there's more, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And I love that about you, and I love the fact that that is a lesson that a lot of us can learn from. Yeah. Because anybody entering the job market, or anybody that's just saying, look, I have this desire, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but you know what? We don't have money. I come from this, poor background. My mom, all these excuses that we can make. And yes, some of them are valid, but you can either have the excuse or you can get up and do something about it, which is what you did. Yeah. In this day and age, there is no excuse because there is so much information out there. There is like, the world is open to us. Whatever we want to learn, we can. I mean, back in your day, I'm sure it was a lot harder. But I'm just saying, like, that's something that young people and even anyone else for that matter can learn from, is to say that it doesn't matter what you think you don't have. There is a way if you really, really want it. And so I really admire that about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is, it's not the condition. It's not the condition that defines someone. It's the decision that defines someone. So being able to say that, I'm faced with I've had my daughter young. I need to go and work for her, but I've also got a dream. And I need to make sure that I'm working, that I'm doing this not only for myself, but also for my daughter. So, yeah, not having to be able to study and self-teaching and also then saving up so that I'm able to go for my floral classes and then I'm actually able to, you know, work for someone that does this on a large scale. So yeah,
because that was all prep for you to position yourself accurately or correctly in a way that when they saw you and when you came around them, that they saw that thing on the inside of you that said, there's something different about this girl and we need to have her on our team.
And even with having, you know, done my certification in floral, when I started with them, it was starting from the bottom. So I had to pick leaves up from the floor.
Yes, girl.
And then actually build myself. And within 2 months, I was then given a permanent position as a wedding planner and an event florist. And then, yeah, and I think with, you know, after working with him, it was again, you know, just having that desire to still have my own business. And I think it was a year afterwards that I then left and I said, I'm going to start doing this thing again. And it was a bit difficult in the beginning as well, because even coming from, you know, he's a celebrity event planning company. People that walk in there walk with the intention to buy his product. So I had to then go back into the world system that I'm used to. Not everyone is going to
attract your client.
Not everyone that's going to walk through is going to be my client, and that was something that I had to learn on my own. And so, yeah, I started attracting the clients that I wanted. I think a few months in, I started attracting the 2 big clients, and they set the tone for the rest of my business.
That's really awesome. And I just want to backtrack quickly and just chat about picking up leaves because because it might seem like minuscule, but it's the principle in that is that are you willing to do whatever it takes to move forward? Like, you can't, I mean, you started as a receptionist, you are now an owner of your own company, and your company is doing exceptionally well. But if you didn't start as the receptionist, you would not be here today. If you didn't pick up the leaves, if you weren't humble enough to say, okay, let me sweep, where's the broom, give me the packet, what do I need to do? Do you know what I'm saying? Then you would not be sitting here today. And I do believe that is something that you serve your way into your next. You serve your way into, you know, greatness, if you want to say that. You don't position yourself at the top and then, you know, you've not come through anything. And so I love that. I love the fact that you were so, like, you were humble enough to know that I need to work my butt off. But you also knew that you had value and that you knew that you were going to one day start your own thing and that it is going to be absolutely. I'm not going to take a no. And you're not going to take a no. Amazing. Love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then you had your clients, and I remember you and I chatted about something a while back, you know, just that not every client is your client. You know, you had this amazing billionaire client. Was it a billionaire client?
It was a billionaire client.
Billionaire client that you turned down or turned away. Why did you do that?
So with the billionaire client, you know, they were amazing. They were spending the money that I wanted to make. So I absolutely loved them. But they then wanted to buy in my business. And for me, I value my business so much, and I value what my business is able to bring to the table. And I don't think that they were aligned with that. So I had to say no, and the relationship then kind of
began to be
turn a little differently. And then I had to make the decision of letting them go as a client. So again, coming back to knowing that not every client is your client. You know, we need to know that we are, I think Miles Monroe spoke about, you know, strive for bringing value. Instead of obtaining success. Because once you're able to do that,
You will be successful.
You will be
Yes.
successful.
Yes.
So I look at my clients as, how can I bring value to you? If I'm not able to bring value to you, then I'm doing you a disservice and I'm doing myself a disservice. So I would then say to a, even if it is a bride or if it is like a corporate client, I would say to them, if we're not able to work well together, then rather not have us work well at all, have us work together at all, because I do believe that I need to bring value to you the same way that you need to bring value to me. And
Mutually beneficial.
Yes, exactly. And so I have turned other clients away as well. But then I would recommend someone that I would think is a better fit for them compared to myself.
And I think that just comes down to the fact that it's not about the money for you.
Yes.
It's about purpose. It's about, what you are supposed to do in the earth. And it's not about looking for money, but like you say, you're adding value to clients and customers. And therefore that relationship is then ignited and you are able to exchange, your services and really just make an impact on their lives through what you do.
Yeah.
Because you are excellent at what you do.
Thank you.
Like when you said, I looked at that last wedding that you do with these huge floral arrangements, and I was I was in awe because of the creativity and just the magnitude of what it is that you are busy with.
Yeah.
And so, well done on that wedding. How was that?
That was so amazing. So that was one wedding that I had to also sit back, and it was for a New Zealand couple. So I am at that stage where I am attracting international couples as well. And that's a milestone for me. So, but I had to look at that wedding and think to myself, it kind of reminded me of life. We have to get this vision, and we have to work towards putting that vision together. And you can get so tired, you can get exhausted. We worked till about early hours of the morning, 1-2 o'clock in the morning with that wedding. And then we had to be early up the next morning at about 6 o'clock back at work, and that's kind of how life is. You have to really work and persevere to make sure that vision comes to life. But eventually it all came together because everyone looks at the wedding and they think, oh, wow, this is so beautiful. But they don't see what's happening, the process that we had to go through behind the scenes, So, that wedding just was a reflection for me as to what I had to go through to get to where I am now.
Yeah, that's cool. And so your team that you work with, are they, how do you select your team? How do you guys work together? Because obviously, like you said, there's long hours, and you can't be working with dead weight.
Yeah.
To say that. But how do you select them? Because you need people that have your spirit, that have your energy. What does that look like for you?
So again, with my team, I kind of walk a journey with them. So I meet them along the way, and I listen to their story. Do they have a story? What is it? And you'll find that a lot of the people that is a part of my team have been dealt a hand. They've experienced grief. They've experienced, where they weren't financially able to get them to the point where they are now. So I look at what they've been going through, and I also share my story to encourage them. And we walk a journey before I even make them permanent. There's one lady that's been with me from the very beginning, and she's only recently been made permanent with me. But she showed me that she was able to go through that process with me, and that we can walk the journey together. We can encourage one another, because it's not just me encouraging you, it's you encourage. We need to be able to do that for each other, And so, that's how I've always selected my team. So I don't sit down and have a normal surface level interview. I don't do that at all. But then again, we're also a community. So there is, we think we're like 73 or 53 florists. And we also work together. We collaborate together. So if they need assistance with their large-scale weddings, we lend a hand to them, and likewise with us as well. So we work with a community as well. It's not just a small team, and we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it with other people as well.
That's great. I love your story so much, Jade, because it's such a testament to your grit factor, one, And the fact that it doesn't matter where you come from or how you start, what your beginning is. But if you make the right decisions and if you choose wisely, you can end up in a whole different place and you can end up literally living your dream, your childhood dream.
Yes.
And so your story for me, I'm so like encouraged by it and I'm so excited because I know that there are so many other young women, men, young boys that can, take some tips.
Yes.
And understand that it doesn't matter what your environment is. Those are not even factors anymore. But that you can come out of where you're at and just do amazing things. So before we go, I want you to two things. One, wrap up for us and, just what would you tell your younger self sitting here today? And then two, I want you just to share where we can find you, where viewers can either follow your journey, follow your amazing work, book you. So those two things.
Okay, so what would I tell my younger self? That you can do anything that you put your mind to. There's no such a thing as fear, I'd say. You never say that you can't do it.
Yes.
Always say that you can do it, and your mindset will then automatically align with that.
Sure. That's good.
Look at what is in your hand.
Yes.
What is in your basket.
Yes.
So I tell myself that. And then my handles for social media is all the same. So it's at Cachet Creative.
Okay.
That's CACHET and then creative.
Yeah.
And that's all lowercase. So for all my social media handles.
Awesome, Jade. Thank you so much for being on the show. I know people are going to just absolutely love your story and they're able to, glean from your wisdom and from your experience. But well done with everything and all the best for the future. I know you're just going to soar and your business is going to go to a whole nother level. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Erin.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to follow me on social media for any updates, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more. You can find me on Instagram at ErinJaneMiller08, on Facebook as Erin Jane Miller, and on TikTok at Erin Jane Miller.